Hi, I'm Jessica Lahr, and this is a look at your late summer week in the Finger Lakes. We've experienced our first real stretch of hot, humid weather in a while this week, but it will be coming to an end after some pretty strong storms usher in cooler air on Thursday. The weekend ahead looks absolutely fantastic. After a slight chance of a morning shower, Friday will be mostly sunny with a high near 79. Friday night's low will dip into the upper 50s for the first time in over a week. Saturday will be pleasant as well, under mostly clear skies and high in the upper 70s. Sunday will be sunny and a touch warmer with highs in the lower 80s. For the complete local forecast and live radar images, visit our local weather center online or on the fingerlakes1.com Android or iPhone app. In the news this week, on Tuesday morning, Geneva police arrested 28-year-old Andrea Bowler-Ice of Auburn and charged her with a pair of robberies that occurred at Family Video on Exchange Street in Geneva on August 12th and August 17th. Bowler-Ice was taken into custody at her residence in Auburn and was arraigned and is being held on $25,000 bail. A former running store owner was convicted of secretly taking thousands of pictures and videos of his employees, clients, and friends, and was sentenced to 5 to 15 years in prison by Judge Craig J. Doran. 47-year-old Glenn Seymour pleaded guilty back in June of taking and storing pictures and video clips without permission over the span of approximately 10 years. Many of the victims were minors. The Geneva community is grieving after an 11-year-old girl was killed in a one-car crash on Sunday. Ricara Patterson, her mother, and two sisters were asleep when the driver of their minivan drove off the road on routes 5 and 20 in the town of Seneca. Ontario County sheriffs say they were returning home from visiting family in the village of Perry. The driver, 36-year-old Ali Russ of Geneva, is charged with DWI and could face additional criminal charges as the investigation is ongoing. A 13-year-old girl and a 19-year-old woman were injured in an ATV crash on Sunday afternoon in the town of Hector. The pair were on a four-wheeler when it hit a tree at high speed, according to Trumansburg Fire and EMS, which responded to the scene. One of the victims had a head injury and was flown to Upstate Medical University Hospital in Syracuse. The other victim was taken by ambulance to Robert Packer Hospital in Sayre. If you're battling itchy eyes, a runny nose, or a nagging cough, you might have ragweed season to thank. Ragweed comes into bloom in mid-August, making this week the unofficial start to this summer's ragweed season, which should last into early October. Some Finger Lakes residents with this pollen allergy may already be experiencing symptoms. Now, for a quick look at your local sports, here's Jim Sinocropi.
Thanks, Jessica. The Buffalo Bills' injury woes are mounting up after newly acquired running back LaShawn McCoy grabbed his left hamstring during practice on Thursday at St. John Fisher College. Rex Ryan will now await the results of an MRI to set a timetable for McCoy's return. With Fred Jackson and now McCoy out, the Bills have just two running backs available, both undrafted free agent rookies who've been with the team for less than 2 weeks. Rumors are now circulating that the Bills are showing interest in much maligned former Ravens running back Ray Rice. Buffalo will take the field again for preseason action against the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night at 8 p.m. The game can be seen on ESPN. Scott Schaefer's Syracuse football team also had an injury scare when sophomore wide receiver Steve Ishmael went down with a bruised knee earlier this week in practice. The injury is not reported to be serious, and Ishmael should return to practice by the end of the week. In other Orange Nation news, Jim's Boeheim's men's basketball team announced that they will host Division II national champion Florida Southern in an exhibition game at the Carrier Dome on Sunday, November 8th. Alex Rodriguez hit his 25th career Grand Slam to help the Yankees defeat the Twins on Tuesday night. A-Rod's 25 Grand Slams are the most in Major League history, two more than former Yankee great Lou Gehrig, who had 23. The annual Canal Cup golf matches between Seneca Falls Country Club and Waterloo's Silver Creek will take place this Saturday at Silver Creek. More on the Canal Cup at the end of this episode of FLX Weekly. Now back to you, Jessica.
Thanks, Jim. Before we step aside for 60 seconds, here's a look at the top local images from the past week.
Sights to see on the internet, but for everything local, there's no place you can get it. At fingerlakes1.com. Come on over to fingerlakes1.com. Make us your homepage. News, weather, sports, and fun. Log on to Finger Lakes One.
Local news from over 40 sources, custom local weather, over 10 hours of live broadcasts and podcasts every week on your computer, tablet, television, or smartphone. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
www.fingerlakes1.com. Come on and join the fun. Log on to Finger Lakes One.
www.fingerlakes1.com.
There aren't that many summer weekends left for us here in 2015, but there are some great options area residents and visitors can take advantage of over the next few days. The legendary gym band Phish is set to return to Watkins Glen this weekend for Magna Ball, a 3-day festival of music, art, games, food, and drinks. Pre-sale tickets have been sold out for months, but secondary markets such as StubHub may still have tickets available. If you're in and around Watkins Glen this weekend, expect traffic delays. The Collings Foundation has brought historic World War II bombers to the Seneca Flights operations at the Penn Airport, and the public is invited to come and tour the aircrafts through Friday and can even take a 30-minute flight on one of them, with prices ranging from $450 to $2,200. The 2015 Wine Symposium of the Finger Lakes is being held this weekend in Geneva to celebrate the brilliance of the Finger Lakes wines, wineries, and growers. Downtown Geneva will be buzzing with events, tastings, and music both Saturday and Sunday. The full schedule of events and programs is available online at winesymposiumfingerlakes.com or by clicking on the hot link on our homepage. Graham Nash, formerly of Crosby and Stills and Nash, will perform Friday night at the Smith Opera House in Geneva. The iconic singer will entertain with old hits such as Marrakesh Express and Our House, as well as new material. The show starts at 8 p.m. and tickets are still available at thesmith.org. Also happening this weekend, a wellness and craft fair in Montour Falls on Saturday, a survival skills workshop at Seneca Meadows Wetland Preserve on Saturday, and a chicken barbecue in Waterloo is being held by the Seneca Falls Waterloo Kiwanis at Lions National Bank on Route 414 on Saturday. There are tons more local events slated for this weekend across the region. For a full list of activities and details, visit our community events calendar. In local theaters this weekend, Straight Outta Compton is showing in Geneva and Auburn. The Man from Uncle is playing at Lake Street Plaza Theaters in Penn Yan. Vacation is playing at the Omen Theater in Lyons, and Auburn's Track Cinema has matinee showings of Minions. For movie times at theaters close to you, click on Movie Times at our homepage or on the fingerlakes1.com app. If you missed it on FingerLakes1.tv this week, on Tuesday afternoon, Lenny DiRenzo and Chuck Mason were in studio as guests on Healthy Cooking with Your Friendly Italians to talk about all the great restaurant options available in Auburn.
Now, talking about the restaurants, in the last 3 years alone, Auburn's had about 6 dynamic new places open up right in the downtown area. Moro's Tables being one of the first ones. A.T. Wally's, which is downtown on the corner of State and Genesee.
You ever heard of A.T. Wally's?
No, I've not been to A.T.'s.
They specialize in the craft cocktails there.
All right.
And it's a quality place.
Okay.
Of course, we have a Parker's in Auburn as well. And
Right.
Parker's is great in Seneca Falls. And Parker's does great business in Auburn. Always has. Parker's has been over there for about 15 years now.
Yes.
And then some of the newer establishments right in the middle of
Got a
downtown.
couple Italian restaurants.
Yep, there's Bambino's and
Astoria,
the Osteria
Salini.
Salina.
Asteria. It's
Asteria, well, it's owned by the same people,
Right.
but
I'm-
it has this. Yes, it's a wonderful place.
And
I'm
people
taking a
love
cooking
it.
class there tomorrow night.
Are
Is
you?
that right?
Yeah.
People love it this time of year because
You're going to take a cooking class.
I'm taking a cooking class from the owner's chef.
Madonna mia.
And then the newest thing that we discovered was the Prison City Brewery.
Exactly. Prison City Brew Pub opened in December.
It's wonderful.
And it's excellent. They're doing a lot of local food and they're brewing all their own beer there. They've always got 5 or 6 of their own beers on tap, and then they've got about 15 other specialty craft beers on tap going at all the times. And then next door to the brew pub, in between the brew pub and the Osteria Salina, is a brand new place which just opened at the beginning of July called Moondogs Cafe.
I saw the name, but I didn't know
Yeah.
what it was.
What
it
it
on the
is,
corner, or is it
it's
in-
in
right-
between the brew
yeah.
pub and Moondogs is focused on New York State products, and 90% of the products they have on that bar are New York. So all their beers are New York, all their liquor's New York, all their wine is New York. They've really put the emphasis. But the other thing about Moondogs is there's live music there every single night, and they've done a great job with the place. Shane and Lynn Stillman are the owners, and Shane has always been in bands and stuff over the years, and he has designed that place for the sound, and they've actually got their own sound system wired right into the place. So the musicians just have to show
That's
up and plug
wonderful because
Yeah.
people are always looking for live music, so that's a great thing to
I
know.
went to that prison brewery, and I had shepherd's pie, the best damn shepherd's pie I've ever tasted. Do you like shepherd's pie?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to try it. It's
And
really,
then they
really
serve
good.
shrimp and grits. They serve
Yeah.
very interesting food in comparison.
Exactly, and I recommend the pork belly taco.
I
I
saw
bet.
that.
Next
on
time you
it.
go,
Yeah.
have
Okay,
the pork
we'll have
belly
to try
taco there.
that.
It's excellent. And the Seward's Folly is
Yes, I
the
had
latest
that
beer that I had there was their Seward's Folly. It was like a summer style,
Yeah.
Pilsner style, and it was quite delicious. So
Yeah.
I had that. That
So-
was my last beer
and,
too.
and people, the brewery is right on premise. Okay?
Yes.
So
exactly,
yeah.
it's right there.
Other restaurants in Auburn.
Well, Auburn, I don't want to overlook some of the Auburn's traditional places like Lasca's, is one
Yes.
of the more
Right.
popular ones. Curly's, the Sunset Restaurant down on the West End,
which is very good.
Michael's Restaurant and the Hollywood Restaurant.
Wonderful restaurant.
Michael's I love.
Lenny, have you
and
eaten
the
at
Springside.
Michael's?
And
They've got it.
Springside,
Yeah,
definitely.
no, I've eaten at Michael's a number of times
Best
since
greens
I've
and
been
bean
coming
in
up
the
the
world.
lake for the last 10
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And I'll tell you a little something about the Springside, is that it's owned by Sean and Beth Lattimore.
Yes.
Right.
And they've owned it for about 15 years now, and they have just continuously reinvested in the place
Yes, they
in
have.
their
Yes, they have.
entire time. And now, this summer, what they did was they went up in the back of the facility.
I heard this.
And they put in a beautiful outside area that can be tented for the weddings.
Yeah.
So it's really becoming now
And
the
they have live
premier
music.
wedding.
Yeah, they have
It's
my
a-
live music on Wednesday.
Yep.
It's always a favorite place of mine because my aunt lived next door, and they now live in the house that my aunt lived in, and I was there all the time.
Oh,
they
excellent.
bought that from my cousin.
Well-
So then that brought the whole Dove property back together.
Yep.
when they did that.
Springside has it's sort of a laid back, you feel very comfortable there. It's pretty and it's
Sean
just a
and
nice,
Beth-
Yeah, and I think all those describe that. It's a very relaxing
relaxing
place, yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah, and Sean and Beth are very good at host and hostess.
They definitely
They
are.
are
And
wonderful.
it's a beautiful property on Owasco Lake. I mean,
It
it
is.
really, just as you drive right onto the property,
Right.
it's just breathtakingly beautiful out there. So.
Now, did you mention balloons too?
Balloons is another great one,
Yeah.
and I
Great
definitely
steak.
recommend the drunken ribeye if you go to Balloons.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably one of the best steaks in Auburn.
Well, many years ago, when we used to go to Balloons, and the only thing you got at Balloons then was steak and boiled potatoes. But-
Or a salad.
and a salad. That was it, and it was the best of all three.
Yep.
And not too many people know this, but the bartender also was a bookie, and you could book with him.
Here we go again. Now we're going to get in trouble.
Right.
It was. We're not sure he was a bookie.
All right, you're trying to protect me.
I
right?
am trying to protect you.
I appreciate.
He was allegedly.
Allegedly, that's the correct word. Okay.
Now, two more places. I just want to wrap up Auburn here with two more places. If you like Mexican food, some of the best kept secrets in Auburn. Connie's Tex-Mex Deli.
Where
Where
the
is
hell is
that?
that?
Connie's is been down on the corner of State Street and Wall Street, right across the street from the prison.
Yeah.
It is
Okay.
the best Mexican
Really?
that you'll find anywhere.
We'll have
Was
to
that a
try.
barbecue place at one time?
It's Connie's has been there probably at least for 25 years.
Oh,
I
All
think.
okay.
right, we'll have to
And,
try that.
You should definitely go to Connie's. It's one of those places that's always busy. They do a lot of business right off the employees from the prison and stuff,
Wow.
but it is it's probably the best Mexican food. And then the other new Mexican place in downtown is called Mesa Grande,
Yes.
and that's owned by Jimmy DiDavo. And it's becoming a small, locally owned chain now because he has a location in Auburn, which is the home location.
Mm-hmm.
He just opened up in Fairport, New York, and he just opened up in Camillus, New York. So,
Okay.
and he's a native Auburnian, and it all started in Auburn. So, a couple of great Mexican options.
So
for
a lot
everybody
of
in
choices.
Auburn. Tons of good choices.
We're gonna go to Skinny Atlas, but before
This
we go to
Saturday
Skinny
marks the
Atlas-
11th playing of the Canal Cup golf matches between Seneca Falls Country Club and Silver Creek Golf Course. Seneca Falls Country Club captain Doug Brown was in studio on the Finger Lakes Golfer podcast where he revealed the pairings for the event.
And also coming up this weekend, it's a big golf weekend for us, for Bobby, myself, and Doug, Doug's actually our captain in the Canal Cup on Saturday at Silver Creek, where Seneca Falls Country Club takes on Silver Creek in a series of Ryder Cup style matches. It's an 18-hole event this year. In the past, it has been 36, but it's great to get together with those guys and play golf. And Seneca Falls is 10-0 in the competitions, and part of that I think we have to attribute to our great captain, Doug Brown, who's captained the majority of those victories.
Yeah, probably 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah, I think Hillwell was a captain for a couple.
Mike Stackus Jr.
Oh, we used to have our club champ be
Yeah.
the captain. That's right.
That's right.
And then we decided for continuity it was probably best, and since
Right.
Doug did a great job.
Yep.
So
It's kind of like keeping Freddie Couples as the captain of the President's Cup.
No task force involved to keep you on.
I could be Tom Watson too, so.
it hasn't happened yet, but you did release the pairings, Doug. We prior to the matches, captains pair them up, and then they match up the matches. And Bobby and I are going to be partners in the Canal Cup this year. It's pretty exciting. I think our point is going to be a pivotal one, and I think that George Mander and Gary Millard, that's our opponent.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be a pivotal point.
Yeah, they're good golfers.
Pivotal 2 points.
Yeah.
I'm counting on you.
I know. I saw that pairing. I knew right away that you were thinking that he had faith in us. The captain had faith in us. So gotta come through.
Make it happen.
Why don't you just read off some of the matches that we got coming up Saturday?
Okay. So you just said you and Bob are playing Gary Millard and George Mander. Mark Hill and Ben Wong are taking on Norm Sharman and Paul Stevens. It'll be Paul's first event. So we got some rookies on both sides. For us, Kevin Sweitz and Jason Peralta are playing Jody Benedict's
Great team.
and Mike Strom.
Both good teams.
And I think Mike Strom, this is his first as well. And then Steve Brown and Chuck Erzman for SFCC
Tough team
are
to beat
playing
there.
Bummer Felice and Cliff Stein Jr. Dan Kernan and Matt Olmstead for us, taking on Cliff Stein Sr. and Don Johnson, who's making his first appearance for Silver Creek, but he played for us for many years.
Yeah, did he? He never played for Silver Creek though before.
I don't believe so. He's always played with
Don
Donnie
Johnson.
Yeah.
Because he used to play against his brother.
Right.
He used to have a couple.
And now he's over on the Silver Creek side.
Right. And then Mike Stackus and myself are playing against Jeff Capps and Mike Bertzel.
And Capps is their captain?
Capps is their captain. He's always been their captain.
Right. All 10.
You know, they might have did that club championship thing too. Take that back. He might not have captained all 10.
Huh.
I can't think of who would have won because probably Bertzel would have won the club championship. He's won most of them. So.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, it's 9 holes of alternate shot and
Yes.
against your opponents for 1 point, and
Yes.
then the back 9 is best ball.
Right.
For so there's 12 points. You need to win 6
we only
points
need to win 6
to
'cause we
retain
have
the cup.
Yes. I did let them borrow the cup this week. They have it in their possession. I told them not to get fond of it.
Right.
That we intend to take it back home with us Saturday evening.
Now, what do you plan on telling the squad?
On Monday morning, Seneca Falls Town Councilman Emil Bovey announced he will not seek re-election after this term on Weber this week.
This is sort of a sad moment for me as well with my friend Emil, because Emil, there's been rumors around town about Emil regarding him not running for his board seat. And Emil, it's a thank you for allowing me to bring it up this morning, but this is going to be your final swan song. And as of December 31st, you're no longer going to be a member of the town board of Seneca Falls.
That's right, Harold.
Give us a little thinking of what happened in the background that caused that decision to come about.
Well, part of it is that I promised Laurel Lynn that I would only serve 1 term. Of course, it's been very challenging, and the fellows that I work with at Medea, Miris, and Ricky also, I think it's part of the decision-making. So for whatever reason, I decided not to run, and I've been saying that all along. It's not anything I decided yesterday, but when I say something, I want to stand by it. So I have been saying that, and I will not be seeking re-election.
Let's talk about when you got on the board. What came to mind, thought? I know you've been a Seneca Falls guy as long as I can recall. We've been longtime friends. What triggered the thought of getting on the board in the first place, and what has been your memories thus far, with the good and bad, of working on the board? It seems like a lot of work involved. It seems like a lot of studying involved. Tell us a little bit about the pre-decision to get on the board in the first place.
Well, I decided to run and try to get on the board because I wanted to be part of the implementation of the dissolution. I knew it was going to be difficult. There'd be challenging issues. Some of them would be legal. Some of them would have other implications. So that was my thinking. And looking back, I'm pleased to have been a part of the process. I think it's been very successful. Seneca Falls, there have been some major things, epics if you want to call them, but certainly the period up to 1915 when you had all the factories and everything, and then all of that was destroyed and demolished. And now in 2011, the village was dissolved. That is a huge process, and I think we successfully completed that. So, we're in a new epoch now, and I think we were very successful throughout the last 4 years. There's always going to be controversy, but when you think about it, we've got really good.
Check out all of this
department
week's
heads,
episodes at FingerLakes1.tv or on the FingerLakes One TV tab on our app. All of our audio programming is also streaming in rotation on Finger Lakes One Radio. Thanks for joining me for another edition of FLX Weekly. I'll be back next Wednesday afternoon. For FingerLakes1.com, I'm Jessica Lahr, hoping you have a fantastic late summer weekend.